Chapter 51. Alone it stood at the center of Zoma's plains. His castle looms in isolation, overwatching the approaching beast. The Franticor's lion head bellowed with a blazing deep fire in its mouth, identical in color to its mane. Whipping and hissing of the black snake tail echo throughout the land, its crescent fangs dripping with green acid. The emerald dragon wings atop its back flapping to push the hidden slimes out from its path, with its 6 sharp claws stamping forward. They stare at the towering beast, hiding in what little foliage stands, avoiding its blinding gaze. This is the first time Isamu has seen the monster of the plains, and what the citizens said of it are true. He cannot begin to fathom how to defeat a creature of such size. No weak points. No blind spots. Even an army of 1,000 men wouldn't match its strength. None of that mattered, however. The Franticor was simply another step to reach Zoma. Nothing could stand in his path, knowing victory was within grasp. "Watch out for its eyes," Hotaru warned. "If spotted, hands will come out from the ground and hold you down." Isamu withdraws the golden claw from his overhanging cast. He stares at the golden sheen. "I hear you loud and clear," he answered, attaching the claw to his hand, flexing the fingers. "I will provide support," Fedir said. "I can't sense anything else out there, and I will deal with the hands." "It's nice to have support again. Only so much my strikes can do alone," Isamu said, and Fedir nodded in his direction. Hotaru draws her sword, her legs squatted, ready to pounce. "Let's bring this beast down and find Aziza." Together they spring out from the shrub, weapons in hand, spells ready. As they close the gap, the Franticor locks its eyes on Isamu. Its yellow gaze switches to a fearsome red. Muddy hands, mixed with dirt and ash, reach out from the dry soil of the earth, holding him still, their cold hands marking his clothes with dirty stains. He flails his body around, but can't escape as more hands latch onto him. The fire in the Franticor's mouth builds, and he locks eyes with the blinding flame. A harsh wind from nowhere, sharp and swift like a sword slash, blows across the plains, severing the fingers of the muddy hands as they are caught in the storm, loosening their grip. The fire is belched, and he dives out of its path as the hands are melted to cinders. "A little close for comfort, don't you think?" Isamu shouted. Fedir aims his hand towards Isamu. A green light wraps around him. A fast-flowing energy like lightning pulses in his veins. "Better late than never, right?" The red, piercing gaze catches him again, and hands reappear. However, Fedir's spell takes into effect. He avoids their grabs with ease, outrunning the gaze of the beast. He runs towards the front legs of the beast where Hotaru is stabbing her sword into the thick pelt, yet leaves no cuts upon its fur. "We need another plan," he announced, with him picking her up as hands approach them. He reaches below the face where another harsh wind blows. However, the path is upwards, spinning in a circle, scooping up dirt, grass, and fallen branches, forming a fierce tornado, caught in the eye of the storm. Its sheer strength blows all approaching hands away, sucking in the mud, making the tornado unclear. It rises and they shoot towards the head of the lion, its eyes trying to scan past the grime of the tornado. It fires another stream of flames at the base of the squall, where it consumes the flames, incinerating the land beneath. The tornado is pushed away by another torrent of wind, and left in its place is nothing but ash. Hotaru and Isamu fly through the air as the fierce fire reaches the top. They fall onto the thick pelt on its back. The fur is scorching on their hands, and she pierces her sword into its skin as an anchor. Finally, a roar of anguish belts out. Damage has been done. She lifts her holy sword, tearing it back from deep in its skin, leaving a spill of light in its place, going for another stab, but a rattle halts her attempt. The snake leans its head forward, baring its toxic fangs. Hotaru carries her sword close, holding firm as the violent wind from the dragon's wings flap. Isamu holds his claw ready and stares down the serpent. He rushes forward with speed, evading its snaps. He dodges another bite, grabbing the neck. The snake hisses, whipping its body around, the loud cracks booming in the sky. Hotaru runs forward to help him, careful to not fall, but with another whip of the snake, he flies off the back of the monster. His scream pierces along with the horrors of the lion's roars and snake's cracks across the sky. She glances off the back to find him sprawled on the ground, twitching his body as he rises. She snaps back to the snake, its head mere feet from her face, its breath like death. It lunges forward, shooting poison from its fangs. She rolls out of its path, and it sinks its fangs into the back. The Franticor roars again. She runs to the neck of the snake, slashing her holy blade with a war cry to match the chaos. Its tough scales are resilient, but not enough. The louder her screams, the further her blade is driven, more light pouring out from the exposed wound. The beast lifts up and she slides down as the snake hisses in pain. She crashes to the ground and the wings on its back create a forceful wind, ripping the roots from the grass, blowing the logs of fallen trees into the nearby lake. She lifts her head up from the ground. Isamu is trapped by the hands while he is lying on the floor. Fedir is unable to conjure a spell as he is unstable from the monster's turbulence. The red glare catches Isamu and the fire builds in its mouth. Takeshi's words ring in her head. You can unleash your thunder magic and store its power into the sword. Once enough power is charged, you can unleash the most powerful spell known throughout the land, Gigagash. With it, nothing will stand in your path. But how? She thought. I must try. I can't hesitate. She conjures a thunder spell in her hands, the intense electricity coursing through her veins. The black clouds above boom and spark with a blinding light. She raises the sword with a shout leaving her lips. Gigagash! A dagger flies through the air, cutting the webbing of the dragon's wings. The wind has weakened as the Franticor's weakening roar fills the air. Fedir focuses on the sound around him. The blazing fire, the sharp wind, the running water, the cries of the earth, but something quiet is hidden among the disarray. Running light footsteps. The evil that is cold and smells of decay and death floats around at all times, with two oddities standing out. A hot red aura of fire, Isamu, and a cool blue calm of spirit, Hotaru. However, a third is near, a familiar pure white, Aziza. He drowns out the chaos and closes in. Its footsteps are near the red, springing around the swarming darkness which tries to swallow them whole. The air is sweltering. This feeling is the same. Fedir conjures a cool spell through his bones, his soul. Things will be different. They have to. Insulate! He shouted, pointing his hands forward. A cold, thick air, fortified like castle walls, is placed against the blazing force. The two fragile auras hide behind it like a blanket in the night. Both the heat of destruction and the cold of sanctuary clash against each other, the malice soon overtaking the air once more, leaving nothing of the prior safety in its wake. A brief moment of silence swarms the air. The taste and smell of ash, the twisting cries of the earth. It's all coming back. The day that haunts him. Soft steps accompany a quiet gust. A gentle warmth closes in with incredible energy surrounding it, like a raging typhoon. A voice of confidence and peace sound. Her voice. Thanks for the spell, Fedir. Without it, I don't think I could have saved Isamu in time. His heart beats with intensity. He was successful. The taste of tears overwhelm him, knowing the voice. The aura and the tears are real. I'm so glad you're safe, he whimpered. This smoke bomb won't hide us forever. A soft hand takes his and the great power from before flows through his body. It is powerful, but not corrupt. His soul feels like he's flowing through an ocean of light blessed by the goddess. The person I met said only you can use the staff. We're counting on you to get it done. He grazes his hands on the shaft of the staff, touching a sharp metallic object of power at its end. He raises the staff and focuses in, listening to the deep calls it cries, echoing its incantation in his soul. When rain and sun, the twain do meet, the rain's bow shall a bridge complete. A droplet of water smacks his head. The smoke from her bomb fades, revealing herself before the Franticor. The rain Fedir's summon grows stronger, causing the hundreds of hands upon the battlefield to melt away. Once they fade into the earth, a light shines in the distance. Hotaru rises from the ground, her waist glowing bright like the sun. Hotaru reaches into her pocket to pull out the sunstone. The light shines even brighter than before, forcing Aziza to shield her eyes, despite the long gap between them. Its light beams into the sky, towards Zoma's castle that sits alone near the lake. The white gleam cycles through bright, vibrant colors in the sky. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Mesmerized by the shining colors, they drop back down, building a rainbow bridge across the tar-like lake, reaching to the door of Zoma's castle. "Look!" Isamu shouted. "At the head." They turn their gaze back to the Franticor. At the center of its forehead is a glowing slit, revealed by the rainbow's light. Hotaru runs to Aziza, with Isamu joining shortly after. "Looks like that's the spot to strike. Are you ready to try out that sword?" She nods towards Isamu, who has furrowed eyes, but a determined smile, though he was seconds away from getting scorched. "I will take on the snake. The head is on you two," Aziza said, rushing headlong into the fight. She darts through the sloppy fresh mud, rain pouring heavy. The Franticor has its red eyes on her. It shoots torrents of fire, which she dodges with ease, sliding underneath its body. There the injured snake awaits. They stand off, staring into each other's eyes. Acid drips down its fangs. A smirk spreads across her face, holding in her possession the weapons Isamu had to give. She drops a smoke bomb, enveloping herself in the shadows. She throws knives out from the smoke, pelting them into the scales of the serpent. Some fly past, others bounce off. Either way, her plan was working. It lunges its head into the smoke where she jumps onto its head, then stabbing into the underbelly of the main body to gain a height advantage. The beast bellows and the snake with haste lunges forward, again sinking its fangs into the pelt of its underbelly. Its eyes meet hers as she flips off the dagger which held her, kicking off the belly, landing on the serpent's neck with her legs wrapped around it to hold still. She takes her new dagger. It shimmers with shining sharp steel from the sheath of her waist, cutting across the exposed wound of light Hotaru left behind, finishing the job and severing the head from its body, quickly squirming before being taken by the light. The beast lowers its head as the tail fades into light, its face lowered to the ground. Hotaru readies her sword. A red light swarms her. Her blood pumps quickly. Immense strength flows through her. She screams as she runs forward. However, it opens its mouth and she glares into the depths of its hell-like flames. The fire is sweltering, forcing her shield up as the flames reach further out. A shout from above overpowers the crackles of its blazing fire. Isamu springs off its lowered back, driving his knees to the dome of its head, shutting its mouth as his knee connects. "Now!" he shouted. The wound was in place. She cries like a warrior, driving her sword through the slit. The beast of the plains unleashes a final roar as a light absorbs it, leaving nothing of the terror behind. They catch their breaths, but there's no time to rest. Cackling echoes in the night, rattling of bones and stomping accompany them. They huddle together as skeleton dragons and short flying demons equipped with spiked whips swarm them. They raise their weapons, but their stamina has been depleted. "Head to the castle, Hotaru," Isamu ordered. "Are you crazy? And just leave you here? We have it covered, but you can't waste any more energy on these small fry. We will join you once this is done." Grandma's words keep ringing in my head. If I want to succeed, I must push aside my differences. They have more than proved their capabilities, Hotaru told herself. "Don't take long," she said, running towards the rainbow in the distance. She finally makes her way over the rainbow, out of sight from Isamu, and he takes a breath. Another wave stood before them, and despite the fact, he kept his humor intact. "You think this one was too big of a bite?" Well, I can't see how many. I sense they outnumber us by several dozen. Wow, don't you have great awareness? Aziza chuckles despite the swarming danger. A soothing sound he hasn't heard in some time. It was comforting. A reason to not fall behind or abandon those close to him. Something he lost sight of for what felt like an era. Good to have you back, Aziza, Isamu said, though we could have made it a bit less stressful. She shakes her head. This I expected, but to hear you two again, I worried it would never return. So I'm glad to be back too, even if this is the hand we were dealt. Isamu sticks forward his golden claw, waiting for a cackling demon to close in, but they stop. Something is coming, Fedir said, and there's a lot of them. Aziza points out in the distance. It's a giant light. Isamu stares out at the ball of light coming towards them. A smirk spreads across his face. His eyes furrow with energy to fight. Looks like the cavalry finally arrived. Zoma's castle lies just ahead. She steps forward from the rainbow's end towards the bleak drawbridge. Rusty chains rattle loudly throughout the gloomy night as the demon's lair welcomes her. The drawbridge crashes down, making its path, its end in complete darkness, only revealing a decrepit red carpet that greets her. Hotaru, donning the legendary equipment worn by heroes of old, takes hold of the hilt of her sword and raises it. Once released from its sheath, its holy shine pierces light like an arrow through the darkness, revealing the decrepit red carpet that welcomes her in. Though the path before her is large and intimidating, holding many secrets within its chambers, she remains undaunted by its presence, remembering Takeshi and Pimiko's words, with a war cry that echoes throughout the land, announcing to Zoma of his coming demise. She charges forward into the castle depths,